Hello, welcome to Mart's garage. I've got 4 cars in the garage at the moment. I've got the sedan, the roadster, the coupe over the back there, and the Thunderbird. Now the thing is, I'm not happy at all with the engine in the truck. So I'm going to pull the engine out of the truck. So for a few days I think I've got to put one of the cars outside, one of these cars outside, so I can bring the truck into the garage, because I don't want to work outside because there's rain forecast on and off over the next few days. I'm going to take the coupe, put it outside, put the roadster over there. I'll move this table out, I'll push the sedan forward, and I'll bring the truck in this side as far forward as I can, get the engine out and do what I need to do. Okay. Well, there's the truck in. I think there will be just enough room there to get the motor out, and enough height there to lift the hood up nice and high. Nothing for it now but to get the motor ready to pull out, which is quite a big job really. But at least this motor was out relatively recently. It isn't like it's been in there for like 10 years or something. So all the work that I did to free up all the nuts and studs and threads on the exhaust and everything will still be fresh. It shouldn't be as difficult as when I did it to swap this motor in, which was, you know, probably, I don't know, about 6 months ago or something. Okay, right, that's enough for now then. I'll leave it at that for now. That's just a simple, you know, shunting the cars around to make some room. Okay, I'll show you more when there's more to show. Okay, that's a good time to have a break. The engine is out, the engine is on the stand. I will decide what to do next. One of the things obviously I need to do is to drain the oil. Right, okay, thanks very much for joining me in the garage then. I imagine this video is much too long already, but hey, it's amazing what you can do in the editing suite. Okay, right, I'll bring you back and there's more to show. There we are, I've got the flywheel off. I'm hoping that the imbalance is in the flywheel. I'm going to do an investigation, so I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Hello. I put this piece of metal in the lathe and I turned it to fit the bearing, and I can see, well, I'm running the motor on the lathe, so there's a very slight vibration. I haven't taken the seals out of the bearing or anything like that, because if you look at this, if I move that point there off centre, it goes back to the bottom again, look. So if I move it just half an inch, it goes back. So what I'm thinking is that this flywheel needs balancing. This flywheel's out of balance. I don't know if you can tell how much it's out of balance by the fact that it accelerates at a certain speed. Well, it's stopping with that bolt hole virtually at the bottom, isn't it? So why don't I add a weight here on this bolt hole? Oh, is that bolt hole opposite? No, it isn't opposite, is it? It's close to opposite. Or I could maybe, I just don't know. Never done it before, as usual. You know, as usual with me, I'm doing something for the first time. Let's just, as a rough guesstimate, put a bolt in there with something on it. Okay, back in a bit. Okay, I've been kind of messing about with it, and I've put that bolt in there with 3 washers on it. And when I put it at 90 degrees, it kind of don't move. And when I put it at 90 degrees there, it kinda don't move. So if I can weigh this and then do a calculation, I can drill a hole kind of over here of a certain diameter, of a certain depth, which will approximate the weight of that, and hopefully that might bring it into balance. There will be a certain amount of friction with this setup, won't there? I'd say that's very marginally too heavy. Let's take a washer off. Really, you could do with like a frictionless bearing. I think that's probably about it, to be honest. So if I take this out, I mean, that's not a bad kind of reaction from the bearing. I don't think the bearing is particularly tight, and I think the vibration helps. So if I can locate the heavy point, then I've got to take that much out of it. Yeah, that's the heavy point, isn't it, there? Even if I go just half an inch out of it, like that, goes back to it. It is around about there. So if I can drill a hole here, I think that's my best bet. Okay, I'll do some calculations. Right, back in a bit. Okay, let's just have a little look around the motor then, see how it looks. Looking down the bore there, kind of looks okay, doesn't it? Don't really know what to look for, to be honest. Cam looks alright. All the split pins are intact. Gear looks okay. All the gudgeon pins look, you know, centered, roughly centered on the rods. What can you tell from underneath? Not much, really. Cam and lifters look okay, don't they? Okay, I've just done some calculations, and by my reckoning, to balance that flywheel, I'll need a half-inch hole 2 millimeters deep, which doesn't seem very much to me. I'm trying to account for, you know, what is quite a violent vibration in the truck. I suspect all these rods are out of balance. I need to do a bit of thinking, because I could bolt on another flywheel that hasn't been modified, because that flywheel over there in the lathe was modified by turning off that heavy wall around the outside. Now I have another one of those flywheels that's stock, which I could fit. And it would be interesting as a stock flywheel to see how that kind of balances up by using the same method. I'm kind of wondering whether I want to pull all the rods and pistons and try and balance the little ends. I just don't think I want to do that. The idea was with this was to bore it to kind of prove that the block is okay, and I do believe I've done that. I could fit a completely different engine. I've got a little 21 stud engine that I could put in which to be honest might suit the truck, you know, because it's only used for just tootling around locally. Okay, I don't know the answer yet. I'm going to go and have a cup of tea and have a think about it. Righto, I'll bring you back when I've decided what I'm going to do. I've drilled a hole 1/2 inch diameter, and I've just put the thing back on the lathe, and it's still heavy in that area, so I think I just need to maybe, I'll drill another hole next to it here. Hello, I've actually now drilled 3 holes here, and the method I'm using is to just put that bit like at 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock and see which way the flywheel wants to move. So I'm holding it, then I let go, and it wants to go down, so put it there and let go, and it wants to go down. But you can see it's getting close now because the acceleration is very slow. As I said, the motor is running in the lathe just to create, the motor and the belts are running and the shafts in the gearbox just to create a little vibration which helps it to move. There's probably too much friction now in this bearing, but that appears to be the heavy point, so I will drill that one there a little bit deeper. That's the last one I've drilled, that one down there. Okay, I think within the realms of, you know, my setup, I think I've got it more or less about as good as it can get. Just a very, very slight tendency to want to go that way, but it's stopped now. No, it seems that wherever I put it, it just stops. So I've ended up with 3 1/2 inch holes, and I'd say roughly about like 3/16 and an 1/8. 3/16, tiny bit less, and an 1/8. So I think actually that is quite a substantial amount of metal, isn't it? I think I'm just feeling the friction effect now. It might want just a, no, I think without getting a bearing and kind of washing it all out, I think that's like really close. So what I think I'll do, I think I'll put that back in and give it a run. I think that'll be as good as another flywheel. It's got a very slight hint of wanting to go back the other way. I wonder if it wants just a tiny bit more. Yeah, that's just tried to reverse, so it is trying to bring, so that one there that's slightly shallower, I might take just a tiny bit out of that. Back in a bit. Okay, I think I've got as close as I can get now. I can sense a very slight wanting to reverse, but I think I might have just took, as usual, slightly too much out. Tiny little bit of wanting to reverse. But I think that is probably a hell of a lot better than it was. I don't know how much weight that represents. Probably quite a lot actually. A lot more than the 19 grams that I kind of thought it needed. So now if I put something like that in one of the holes, it should just go straight to the bottom, shouldn't it? Now that's not actually very heavy, is it, that bolt? That's a 6mm bolt, like, you know, just under a 1/4 inch. If I had a brand new bearing and washed all the oil out of it, it'd probably work, you know, better. I think that's kind of proved the point though, hasn't it, that that has just gone, well, almost to the bottom. That little anomaly is probably the, unless that does prove something, I'm not sure. But if you put that one over there, it goes that way immediately. If you put it over here, it goes that way immediately, so yeah. That's probably as good as it's going to get. About 1 inch off that way. And about 1 inch off that way. That inch anomaly represents the friction, doesn't it? So I'm going to call that good. It's 1 inch off this way and 1 inch off that way. So I reckon that's pretty good, to be honest. Yeah, I've got a good feeling about that now. Okay, righto, back in a bit. Just looking down in the oil pan, and it don't look too bad. A little bit of sludge, so I'm just going to wipe that out. Okay, well, a lot cleaner than it was. Right, put the flywheel on and then I can put the sump back on. Okay, I've put the oil pan back on. All the bolts are done up. Put the clutch back in place. Got an alignment tool there, look, from an old input shaft. Okay, the motor's in. Hard work on your own. It's in, it's down on the mounts. I can go and have a little break now. I'll call it good at that for now, and I'll see you all later when I do a bit more. Cheers then, bye. Hello. Hello, welcome to Mart's Garage. I've just got into the truck and I'm going to give it a drive. This is the first time I've driven it since putting the engine back in with the rebalanced flywheel. I did start the engine yesterday and just run it a bit. I'm going to give it a drive now on the road. So let's see how this comes out. It feels better, still don't feel good though. Let's let it get warmed up. It was a bit smoky when I first started it, but I did let a bit of oil dribble down the carb. Too bad, it's about 40, but it should feel, it felt alright at 40 before. It's when you go a bit faster than this that it felt a bit vibey. But I'd like to be able to just sit on the motorway, you know, at sort of 55, pushing 60 and not have to worry about it, like I could with the other motor. Still got the choke on. I was going to change gear then. There's no gears left. I was in third. Yeah, the motor's a bit noisy when you bring the revs up. This is the old 59 flatty. This is the one that I had to completely liner the whole engine. It's rebored plus 45. It's got a set of new old stock pistons in it, but it's got a complete mishmash of connecting rods. They were all in that engine, but they've all had various amounts taken off them to resize them at some point, so that they weren't a match set. And when I assembled them, I put the nuts on, and the nuts were too far down to get the split pins in, get the cotter pins in. So I fitted washers on the threaded part to bring the nuts up. So I don't know. Well, I just assume there's no close match in the balance between them. The motorway doesn't look blocked up. Can get a bit blocked up sometimes. loop in a minute. I'll go around and do it again. But I'll put my, you know, sat nav on the phone, so I've got a speedo reading. I might try and do it now actually. So I'll stop recording and I'll put the nav on. I couldn't get it on, but the truck does feel much better. Does feel much better. It can cruise at a reasonable speed now, where you don't feel like you're getting in the way. I will get the sat nav set up, and I will do another little drive where I can tell how fast I'm going. Everything's gone a bit slow anyway on here now. It's getting a bit busy now. So yeah, great, a good result I'd say. I just need to set my phone up a little bit differently to give me a speed reader. Yeah, very pleased with that. A worthwhile exercise. I feel a bit more confident in the truck now. Okay. I just braked and the thing moved. Okay. I'll leave it at that for now then. Bloody hell. Right, okay, I'll leave it at that then. The camera fell off the windscreen. I'm going to go and do another loop now and get the speedo running, so see how fast I'm going. Hello, right, I just went around the loop again. Did it the other way around because the road got a bit congested on the way I was going. So I went round the other way. I latched in behind a couple of trucks and I was cruising along at about 55, 56. Which was impossible before, and although I was approaching my exit, I hung back from the trucks and then I went faster, and as I exited the motorway I was doing 60 and it felt okay. So all in all I would say that was a very useful and worthwhile exercise. Now obviously with the benefit of hindsight, which is 20/20 vision, I should have balanced that flywheel, you know, before I fitted it, and I will use the same technique to test any other flywheel that I fit. But I modified that flywheel. I lightened it. It was one of those ones with a big heavy band around the outside, and I lightened it. I took all that off, and of course in taking that off I altered the balance of the flywheel. I'm a beginner at a lot of this stuff. I've got some experience, but normally I put stuff together that hasn't been modified. And, you know, and it goes together okay. But this time I've learned a lesson there. Yeah, very good. Very pleased with that. Really pleased with that, because it's kind of made it so I shouldn't feel reluctant to, you know, jump in the truck at any point. went to that steam rally last Saturday, and I had to go a non-motorway way, and basically I had to stick down to about 45 mile an hour tops, which was okay, you know, but it kind of made it a bit awkward to get back at one point when there were some road closures, and my best bet would have been to just come down the motorway. That's why I decided to do this job. I'm glad that I feel it's okay, because if I didn't feel that it's okay, I'd be pulling the motor. When I get back now, I'd be pulling the motor out again to fit a different one. But now I feel that I don't need to do that. Okay, once again, thanks very much for joining me in the garage then. I hope you enjoyed following along while I did this little bit of work on the truck. You take care, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye!